You remember when that woman got acid thrown in her face by her ex-boyfriend? Now, the woman's name is Katie, and Katie is 24 when all this starts, and she's living in London. And Katie, she's apparently very attractive. I mean, all her life, people have been telling her that she is fine. Like, sometimes strangers will come up to her on the street and they'll tell her that she is fine. And because she's got this going on for her, she decides she's gonna try and make it as a model. And she legitimately has some success. She's gotten some gigs doing some modeling. She's had a few TV appearances in the UK. Like, she was a presenter on a show that sold solar panels or something. She also worked on a quiz show. And sometimes she works as a ring girl at martial arts matches. So that's cool too. And because she's working steady, she's making not a lot of money, but more money than she's ever made before. So this is all going really well for her. But then one day in 2008, something happens that's going to change her life forever. That day, Katie is checking her Facebook and she sees that she has a message from a guy she doesn't know. And the guy is this dude, Danny. And Danny, he's described as a martial arts enthusiast, which makes it sound like he's one of those guys who is obsessed with MMA. He also doesn't appear to have a job, so there's that. And Danny reaches out to Katie on Facebook to, I guess, tell her how fine he thinks she is and to ask her out. And Danny had apparently been following her modeling career for a while. Like, he had seen her in something and he felt like he needed to go and find her on Facebook and try and talk to her. And this feels creepy to me, but I guess it worked because these two start messaging back and forth. And then they start talking on the phone, and eventually Katie agrees to meet up with him. So they meet up in person, and surprisingly, she's into him, and they go out on a date and it goes well. So they go out on a second date, and by the end of their second date, Danny likes her so much that he tells her, "I love you." And while that may sound like a red flag to us, Katie actually finds Danny sweet and nice and all of those things. So after that, Danny starts coming on even stronger. He's asking to see Katie every single day, and even Katie's friends are like, "Are you sure about this guy? He's kind of weird." But Katie keeps on going out with him, and as they continue to see each other, Danny starts to get a bit controlling. Like, he's demanding that she not spend so much time with her friends because he wants to be with her every day. Now, keep in mind that at this point in the story, they've only been dating for 2 weeks. So one night they go on another date in London, and after the date, they decide to stay the night in a local hotel. And there, I guess Danny's expecting that they are going to smash, which I'm sure they had done before, but on this particular night, Katie, she's just not feeling it. But for whatever reason, she doesn't want to do it, and she's just gonna go to bed instead. And this pisses Danny off. He takes this rejection personally, like she insulted him, and he starts to feel like he's losing her. So he starts swearing at her and he threatens her. Like, who does she think she is rejecting him like that? And this guy becomes completely unhinged and he starts beating her up and he threatens to murder her and he won't let her leave. And 1 minute he's screaming at her, the next minute he's crying, and then he also essays her. And this torture goes on for 8 hours until finally Katie is able to convince Danny that everything is going to be fine and that they can still continue to date. So he allows her to leave and go home. And obviously she has no intention of continuing this relationship. She just wanted to get the hell out of there. So Katie goes back to her apartment and she locks herself in there. And she feels too traumatized to report him to the police at this point because, you know, he was threatening to kill her. So 2 days go by and Katie is still in her apartment and she hasn't left or spoken to anyone, but Danny's crazy ass has been calling over and over and over again. He's also sent a ton of texts and emails and Facebook messages. And so Katie messages him back and she tells him that she wants nothing to do with him. She's actually afraid of him. And so he starts blaming his abusive behavior in that hotel on steroids that he had taken, because I guess he's on steroids and he claims he had taken too much. But the main thing he keeps texting her is that he wants her to leave her apartment to go to a nearby internet cafe to read some emails that he had sent her. Because it's 2008 and I guess she doesn't have a smartphone and she can't check emails with her phone, and he spends hours begging her to do this. "Please go read this email I sent you," until he finally says, "Okay, if you go to the cafe and read this important email I sent, I will leave you alone forever." And this is the point where Katie finally agrees. "Fine, I'll go read your stupid email." So she leaves the apartment and she starts walking toward this internet cafe. And 1 minute after she leaves her place, her phone rings and it's It's Danny, and he's asking her where she is and what she's wearing. Because what she doesn't know is that Danny has hired a goon to wait outside her apartment until she walks by, and then he's going to attack her. That's why Danny wants her to leave her place so bad. And that attacker friend is this guy, Stefan. And so Stefan is outside in his hoodie, and he's holding a cup of coffee full of sulfuric acid. And once he sees Katie, he walks up to her and kaboom, he throws that acid directly in her face. And there's actually CCTV footage of the whole attack. So you can see Katie here, and Stefan is here, and there he throws it in her face. Now, keep in mind that she's still on the phone with Danny, so he's hearing her scream, and he's probably happy that his plan worked. And so Stefan runs away, while Katie also runs away into a nearby cafe and yells for help. And from there, someone calls an ambulance and she's rushed to the hospital. And meanwhile, police investigate and they start looking for Katie's attacker. And, you know, there's CCTV footage of him. So pretty quickly they find Stefan and he's got acid burns on his hands. And so bam, police arrest him, here's his mugshot, and it only takes a few days before Stefan flips and he tells police that it was Danny who put him up to it. And so bam, police arrest Danny too. Here's his mugshot, and while that's going on, Katie is in the hospital and she has to undergo serious treatment. She's been blinded in her left eye, she essentially has no eyelids, and her nose has been completely burned off. She also swallowed some of the acid, so her esophagus and stomach are all messed up. She's got all kinds of damage, and so she spends 12 days in the ICU and 7 weeks in the burn unit, and she has to have tons of reconstructive surgeries. But Katie, she is a fighter. She is not about to give up, and after she recovers, she becomes a motivational speaker, and she writes books, and she starred in and produced in more than one documentary. So clearly she is thriving. She's doing really well these days. And ultimately, Stefan gets sentenced to 6 years in prison, and Danny, he gets sentenced to 16 years to life in prison. And also, here is a picture of Katie today, and she's obviously thriving, so good for her.